to be able to be together. Being able to be here in this sacred place, sacred atmosphere, sacred energy. Such an amazing blessing. We begin satsang usually with a question that's come in from our global family. The arti and the satsang are this beautiful union of our family that's here, that actually gets to come and be here with us in person, and with our family all over the world who join us online. So we usually, to honor them in the fact that they're not able to be here, that they're in their rooms or homes or offices or cars, wherever they may be. We begin with a question that's come in advance by our global family. And then we take any question that anyone here may have. And I have to say I'm a little preferential to questions from our very, very young family. So should our very, very young family have any questions, you're going to get to go first. If not, everybody else gets to go. But if you've got any questions, you are first. Think about it while we take one that's come in advance. Is there anything called progress on a spiritual journey? If so, what are the milestones? What are the checkpoints? How do I know if I'm on the right path? So there aren't any specific checkpoints, milestones. Sometimes people think, oh, I saw this color light in my meditation. Or, oh, I saw this image came to me. Or, oh, I heard this, I heard that, I saw this, I saw that. Does that mean I'm there? Does that mean I've arrived? Does that mean I'm advanced? There's no such checkpoint. All colors are good. No color is good. Some people see colors, some don't. Some see shapes, some don't. Nothing is higher, nothing is lower, nothing is advanced. The checkpoints on a spiritual path are actually not so much what you see in your meditation, but how that meditation infuses and impacts your life. So the checkpoints and milestones that I would say for a spiritual path are: how frequently are you getting upset? How frequently are you losing your temper? How frequently are you finding yourself completely stressed out, freaked out, worried, tense, upset? How frequently do you lose yourself in the present moment? How frequently do you say, I don't know who that was, it wasn't me. I don't know how that happened, it wasn't me. As though somehow some other being took over our body, spoke words from our mouth, did actions with our hands. For me, the checking points on our path would be how frequently things like that happen. the more you find that you're not in the present moment, the more that you find that words are coming out of your mouth that you wonder, who was that? Chances are that, like all of us, there's still a lot more to do. The more you find yourself angry, whether you're actually shouting and acting out the anger, or whether you're just seething inside, whether you're turning to alcohol or drugs or food or sex or Facebook to not feel the anger. These are signs and signals that there's still a lot to be done. And when you find that you're able to string together lots of days where you didn't get angry, not because you're repressing it or suppressing it, but just it didn't arise. You're able to string together days in which you didn't say something that later you regretted, that you thought, who was that who came over my body? That you're able to string together days of actually being present and aware, not unconscious, not on autopilot. Those would be checkpoints or milestones that your spiritual path is blossoming, that you are progressing, we could say, on the spiritual path. So don't look for what you're seeing in your meditation. Look for how is that meditation impacting your life. Because those are the marks. Many people go into meditation with a mantra. It gives them a certain experience. Many people go into meditation through prayer, through bhakti, gives them a certain experience. Many people go into meditation as a practice of awareness, a sort of vipassana or insight-based, gives them a certain experience. Instead of looking at the meditation, what am I achieving? Because actually, not only is that not necessarily a great mark, but it also distracts you from the meditation. So the minute that you're in meditation and you think, oh, I got it. Yeah, this is what they were talking about. I got it, I'm there. Well, what's happened? Immediately, you're no longer there. The moment the mind kicks in and says, yeah, wow, this must be what they're talking about, you're no longer there. The minute the mind kicks in and says, this is samadhi, you're no longer in samadhi. Because the nature of the mind is to work in separation. The mind separates us. Meditation, prayer, spirituality is union. Yoga is union. So in your meditation, just allow it to happen. Focus on the mantra if that's your meditation. Focus on the breath if that's your meditation. Focus on loving God if that's your meditation. But don't be checking yourself while you're meditating. Check yourself the rest of the day. Of now that I've stood up from my meditation cushion, now that I've stood up off my mat, am I still in meditation? Okay, my eyes are open. My legs are moving, my hands are moving, but no one said meditation must look like this, in a dark room with eyes closed. There's no rule that that's what meditation must look like. That's when we charge our batteries. That's when we reconnect, and we must shut off the outside world, otherwise it's too distracting. But that's what then trains us and changes us for living the rest of the time. Yes. Did you have a question? You sure? Okay. You'll get another chance in a moment, so just keep thinking. Are there any questions that anyone here has? Yes.
I would like to know about consciousness. Consciousness and awareness, you talk quite often, but I don't really understand whether they're same or they're different, and what is it actually?
Sure. So, on a personal level, both in my own practice, in my own life, as well as in my sharing, in my teaching, I really try to emphasize not being worried about the semantics, about the vocabulary. For me, this was a personal path because I was an academic. And I was a good academic. I was an A+ academic. And so for me, the semantics, the vocabulary, was a very easy place to go. Oh, this is what this means. Oh, that's what that means. Oh, I'll become an expert on this or on that. But I realized very early on that God did not send me to India, did not pick me up from California and carry me to the banks of Ganga so that I could master some semantics, so that I could master an academic distinction between different words, between different philosophies, between different ideas. And so yes, we could spend the next hour or day or week, because they're very deep topics, speaking about the difference between consciousness and awareness. But for me, what matters most is, how is our life impacted? As far as I've heard from scriptures, from saints, from sages, from rishis, at the end of our life, whatever our religion may be, whether we think that we stand in front of the pearly gates with, a manifestation of the divine, whether we think about it in terms of reincarnation, whether we think about it in terms of moksha, oneness, however we think about it, I've never heard anyone say, there's going to be a test, and it's a vocabulary test. There's going to be a test, and it's a philosophy test. A, B, or C. Fill in the blank. A is awareness, B is consciousness, right? So I don't actually think that any of us is ever going to have to take a test on this. The test that we have to take is every day of our lives, as well, of course, as after we die, on how we lived. What did we experience in our minds and our hearts? What did we share? This is the sort of test that gets taken. And so for me, when I think about consciousness, I think about it as that which exists in the universe as the universe. You can think about it as presence that is aware of itself. So consciousness, to me, again, this is not a dictionary definition, to me, when I think about consciousness in my life, I think about that ability that I have when I close my eyes, but then also hopefully when I've got my eyes open, of being aware of my state of awareness. So awareness is, I am aware that my throat is dry. I am aware that there is a glass of water next to me. I'm aware that I have just picked up this glass of water. I'm aware of how the water tastes on my lips. I am aware of how it feels going down my throat. You could call it mindfulness. When we practice mindful living, mindful eating, mindful walking, it's really about that. Can I be fully aware of the way that the muscles in my hands feel, of the way that the warmth of the glass feels beneath my fingers? This is awareness. I'm fully present in the moment. I'm not thinking about, God, I wonder what's for dinner. I'm not thinking about the last time I drank water. I'm not thinking about, oh my God, if I drink the water, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom and I've still got, a half an hour left. What's going to happen? None of that. Just fully aware. With this moment, this presence, the way the body is, the way the breath is, the way the muscles are, the way the skin feels, the way that, just that full mindfulness. And there's a whole meditative practice around mindfulness, just being aware, in which literally you take, 20 minutes to eat a raisin or a grape, just to be fully aware of every aspect of that. And it trains the mind. Because if I can be fully aware, fully present, then even drinking water becomes a meditative experience. Okay? So for me, that is awareness. I am fully aware in the moment. I am fully aware of your presence in the moment. And I'm fully aware of this connection in the moment. That's a reminder, a reconnection, a reunion, you could say. Consciousness. Consciousness for me is a step deeper. Consciousness is, I am aware of the part of me who's aware that I'm drinking water. Consciousness is, I am so awake that I am able to be aware of the awareness. See, awareness is engaged. A practice of awareness is an engaged practice. My attention, my focus, it's on my awareness. Consciousness for me is that which pervades me, whether I'm aware or not. So I might be in the midst of a complete stress, panic, tension, freaking out moment. I am so not present, yelling at somebody, doing whatever it may be. Absolutely unaware. My awareness has gone to sleep. But consciousness still exists. I'm just not tapped into it. Awareness for me is something we create. I am able to create awareness by putting my attention and my focus onto something. I can become fully aware of it. Consciousness exists regardless of whether I'm plugged into it or not. And so when we speak about being conscious, yes, it includes awareness, because I have to use that power of awareness to say, I am now going to pull my awareness from what's happening in the stock market, from this, from that, from here, into consciousness. I'm going to become aware of being aware. That's my path into consciousness. Who is it that's aware that I'm aware? What is that? Awareness is a practice. You could call it my mind. My mind can practice awareness. I can train my mind to be aware. That's why we call it mindfulness practice. But who's aware that I'm aware right now? For me, that's consciousness. That whether I'm aware right now or not aware right now, consciousness is there. Consciousness is conscious that at the moment I have completely lost myself. Consciousness is conscious that I'm throwing a temper tantrum, having a panic attack, freaking out, totally unpresent in the moment, or that I am aware. So connecting with consciousness is a way of connecting with. To me, I use it sometimes synonymously with soul, with spirit. It's that which always exists. We just have to tap into it. It's always been there. But most of us just are not aware of it, are not conscious of it. So when we speak about becoming conscious, it's not just being aware. It's deeper than that. It's much more in the sense of the soul, the spirit, the truth of who I am. That which exists all the time. Even when my awareness has been hijacked by the guy on the road who doesn't know how to drive and who's going to make me late. Okay? Does that make sense? Good. Are there any other questions? Yes. Yeah, you and then here. Yeah.
I would like to ask you, if being religious and being spiritual is kind of similar, it gives a different sense.
Religious and spiritual. So, in theory, in an ideal world, they would mean exactly the same thing. Spirituality quite literally means of the spirit. Look it up in the dictionary. It literally means of spirit pertaining to spirit. Meaning, I have made a conscious choice to focus on spirit rather than matter. So when you and I interact, I can look at you as a young, sincere, beautiful man, and you've got a beard and you've got a mustache, and I can look at the form. I can be aware of the form. That's what we would call matter. Or I can be connected to the spirit. And it's a conscious choice I make. I decide. How am I going to move through the world? Focusing on matter or focusing on spirit? It begins with how I look at myself. Because how I look at you is based on how I look at myself. When I look at myself, do I say, oh my God, I can't believe you gained 5 pounds this week. Or, oh my God, you're losing weight, you're looking so drawn. Or, God, what happened to your hair? Or, oh my God, that's quite a pimple on your nose. Or, oh, another wrinkle? Seriously? Like, what's happening here? If I look at myself like that, I've objectified myself. I'm seeing myself as matter. Spirituality says, I see myself as spirit. I have a body. I take care of it. I love it. It's extraordinary. It's amazing. I'm so grateful for it. But I recognize I'm not the body. Which means then when I interact with you, I'm coming at it spirit to spirit. When we say namaste, right? In the West, we shake hands. Matter to matter, form to form. In India, we're all about content to content, essence to essence. Namaste. The divine within me recognizes the divine in you. Bows to the divine in you. They are not separate. That's spirituality. Now, religion, in theory, in an ideal world, is that which gives us access to spirit. Religion is that which should, again, in theory, in an ideal world, say, you have been created not just by God, but of God. The truth of who you are is the divine, or however different religions say it. And they should be focused on getting us to connect with spirit, with soul, with divinity. Instead, tragically, they seem to have become much more about reward and punishment, much more about form than content. You are a sinner. The actions that your physical body has done are wrong. Therefore, you, the core of you, is sinful. Meaning, you are the doer. Your form. You're the body. And our spiritual connection, our religious connection becomes much more about supplicating God, like, oh, please don't punish me, I'm so sorry. You know, like kids with parents. I know I wasn't supposed to have a cookie before dinner, but oh my God, I'm so sorry, I couldn't help myself. Please, please don't spank me. We start developing relationships like that with God. Because it's been given to us as reward and punishment. And this is where you get so many people who say, well, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And to me, as a deeply spiritual and deeply religious person, I feel like statements like that show us that as religious people, we have failed. When people say that, you're next. When people say that, it makes me feel badly for religion. I find myself apologizing on behalf of religion that we have sort of pushed people away with all of the rules, all of the dogma, all of the do's and the don'ts and the punishments and the rewards. And the truth is, these days, most of us find ourselves feeling like we come up short a lot. In school, never quite get enough correct answers on an exam, never quite make the teacher happy enough. In our workplace, never quite doing exactly what the boss wants, never quite getting where we should get. In our homes, we've got our spouses, our parents, our children telling us, you do that wrong, you do this wrong, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. Now really, we also want to go to God and hear it again? It's no wonder that people are saying, no religion. Like I spend all day long hearing that there's something wrong with me. Now in my free time, I'm also going to find myself in an additional circumstance where I'm told there's something wrong with me. People don't want it. But they want to connect to spirit. They want to connect to the truth of who they are. They want to connect to love, to oneness. Hence the, I'm spiritual but not religious. And I think incumbent upon religious people to take back religion. Religion was never supposed to be about rewards and punishments. It was supposed to be about God and ways of accessing God and ways of understanding God and the universe. And I think we need to take back religion so that it starts to look a little bit more like spirituality. Yes, you, and then you. No, yes, first you, just because you are very young and cute, and then you. Yes.
So I was asking, you said that.
You want to come here?
No. So
Okay.
You said,
That's okay. You're perfect right there. Yes.
you said that I'm sorry with you, but then you said, how will I get a reward then?
Okay, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Great. Okay. So you want to ask the question again? Then my microphone will pick you up.
So I'm asking that you said that if we see, you were saying that I said sorry, then I got a reward.
Okay. So what's the question?
So how did I get a reward? I'm sorry.
Okay. We're planning. Okay. So what I was talking about is that a lot of people have started to think, very sadly, because this isn't really true, but have started to think about God as someone who gets angry at us and punishes us. And so people have started talking to God like sometimes maybe we talk to our parents when we know that we've done something wrong, right? We say, oh, I'm so sorry, like, don't punish me, right? Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Do you ever do something that you know you're not supposed to do? I bet you don't. Do you ever do anything that you know you're not supposed to do?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. So if mom or dad catches you, what do you say?
Sorry.
Sorry. So that's exactly how we are with our mom and dad when we do things that we know we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
The problem is that when we start to think about God as someone who is just there to punish us or to give us rewards, then we don't really understand that God is everything. Everything, regardless of what you do. When you do what you're supposed to do, God is with you. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, God is with you. Oh-ho, my lucky day. You want to come on this side? Lucky day. So, when you do what you're not supposed to do, God is still with you. When you do everything right, God is with you. When you do everything wrong, God is with you. All the time. So I was saying that we should not think about God as just this being who's there to just punish us or to give us a reward. Because a reward, maybe we enjoy it for a little bit of time, right? What's your favorite reward?
Toffee chocolate.
Toffee chocolate, okay. So how long does it take you to eat a toffee chocolate?
1-2 minutes.
1-2 minutes. And then what after that?
I want to move.
Ah, right? She could lead my satsang. That's exactly what happens. Right? So the happiness that you feel when you eat your toffee lasts for 1 or 2 minutes, right? So that's not very long. What we really want is a happiness that keeps lasting, like a toffee in the mouth that never ever finishes, never goes away. What do you think about that? That would be nice, no?
Yeah.
But then think about a toffee chocolate that's not only in the mouth, but that also feels like a toffee chocolate in your heart. What do you think about that? What do you think that would feel like?
It'll feel more nice.
Yeah, more nice, right? So that's what God gives us, is a feeling of a toffee in our mouth, in our heart, in our whole, everything we are, our bodies, our minds, is just melting into this beautiful toffee chocolate all the time. And it never goes away. So that sounds like something pretty nice, no? But what it means is that we have to stop thinking about just the 1 minute Wali chocolate. Right? Because if we're only focused on the 1 minute Wali chocolate, then it's very difficult to focus on the always chocolate. Right? So that's why we focus on God and we go to God so that we feel that beautiful love and connection like the chocolate in our hearts. What do you think about that?
The both are same a little bit.
In what way?
That I love not to get punished, and I love the heart in my chocolate.
Say that again. You love the?
Love the chocolate.
Yes, you love the chocolate, absolutely. And what was the other one that you also love?
That the heart is in my chocolate.
The heart one, yes. But when it's in your heart, it's also in your mouth.
Yeah.
See, the God chocolate is everywhere. You don't have to choose one or the other. It's everywhere. But the difference is, it's what lasts all the time. The other ones only last 1 minute.
Yeah.
So do you want one that lasts all the time or one that lasts only 1 minute?
That lasts all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's why we connect with God. But sometimes people become silly and they just say, oh God, please give me the 1 minute Wali chocolate. Now that's a silly thing to ask for. When you can have the always chocolate,
Yeah.
why would you ask for the 1 minute Wali?
No, I'll not.
Right? So when people say to God, give me this, give me that, this little thing, that little thing, it's like asking for the 1 minute chocolate. When really what we say is, I love you, God. Be with me, God. Be in me, be with me, be as me, so that I can feel you in my mouth like chocolate, and I can feel you in my heart like chocolate. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It's the way you sing those hour-long bhajans and enjoy them.
Yeah. And did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Well, our brother in the back in a blue hat had a question. Yes, you can still sit here. It's okay. She's welcome to stay.
Okay, am I audible there?
I'm sorry?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So my question was around like, is there any specific way to meditate or experience how you can meditate well? Like we generally read that there are 7 chakras in your body that you can feel one by one till that end. So is there a specific way or it's subjective that how people experience that they can meditate well?
Great. So we were speaking earlier about the different milestones or checkpoints on a spiritual path. And I was saying there's no right way to meditate. There's a wrong way to meditate, which is to hit the snooze button and go back to sleep. Or to, make a shopping list in your mind. Those are definitely wrong ways of meditating. But different people meditate in different ways. For some people, it's a meditation on a mantra. It's a single pointed focus on this mantra or on the breath. For some, it's a meditation on the chakras. Sometimes maybe a meditation on just one at a time. I know during Navaratri, the 9 days of Navaratri, we did a very special series of each day. Different goddess, different chakra, different meditation. Sometimes we do a meditation on all of the chakras, one by one, moving upward, opening them. All of our forms of meditation open our chakras eventually. it's an incorrect assumption that in order to have your chakras opened, you have to do a specific chakra meditation. In the same way that Kundalini gets awakened, not only because you've done a Kundalini practice. Kundalini was being awakened long before we had a specific style of a Kundalini practice. Chakras were being opened long before we had, YouTube videos on how to open your chakras. What matters is that in our meditation, we are connecting with the truth of who we are. That we are creating space and freedom from the thoughts. Because those thoughts keep us living in illusion. They keep us stuck in an identity. They keep us stuck in the fluctuations of emotions, of thoughts, of feelings, of yesterday, of tomorrow. So whether I'm focusing on my breath and I'm just fully aware of the breath as it flows in and out, whether I am chanting my mantra and then my mantra is chanting on its own, whether I'm doing both. For those of us with overactive minds, I frequently say, helps to do both. I know on a personal level, I have an awareness of the breath and a chanting of the mantra kind of simultaneously. Helps my brain to have two different things to do in order to quiet it. In order to really be fully still and spacious, into which that experience, that energy, that truth, that anubhav arises. If for you working with the actual energy centers connects you with that energy, wonderful. We do a meditation sometimes of following the breath, carrying it upward through the centers. There's a lot of different ways to activate those. I know on a personal level, I had my chakras opened and activated by a Reiki practitioner long before I knew what the word chakra or Reiki meant. It was an experience of what I was having here. There happened to also be this Reiki master who kind of did something, and then I was in another world. And so there's a lot of ways for it to happen. When we talk about the Guru's grace that just awakens, Puja Swamiji shares the story of his Guru just touching him on the forehead, and what you would call the Agya Chakra. But he didn't take him on some kind of a practice to get there. He just reached out and touched him, and that was it. So if you've got a practice on the chakra meditation, yes?
So things like some usual things that we notice that most of the Sadhvis do, they usually get different kinds of wear, right? Maybe orange or white. Like these kind of things will really help in terms of meditation. And
Different kinds of, I'm so sorry, they have different kinds of?
Like usual things like
Visual things.
in Sadhgurus or saints, right? So they have different kind of appearance and wearing style, right?
Okay.
How they wear. So these things really help in.
Actually, you mean the clothes we wear?
Yes.
Yeah.
These things really help in meditating, or an office person can meditate in their.
The clothes have nothing to do with meditation. Absolutely nothing to do with meditation. I almost never meditate in a sari. Almost never. The only times I meditate in a sari is if I'm meditating outside or in public. If I'm meditating alone in my room, I'm not in a sari.
My question was more around like
So,
there are some things like people usually do meditation in somewhere near the river bank, right? Or on the top of the hill. So is there any specific?
so yeah, so here's here's the point about the clothes and the location. The clothes help us, but it's not about the meditation for me. The clothes, we all move through the world with identities. And we're constantly kind of checking our own identity as the day goes by, right? Wondering, should I do this? Should I not? Right? There's all sorts of temptations. There's all sorts of frustrations. There's all sorts of things that happen. And we're constantly checking in with our own identity. So if, for example, my identity is someone who is really tough and hard and I'm a strong boss and that's my identity, then whenever anybody does anything a little wrong, I'm going to be sure to completely bawl them out, make them feel horrible, punish them, hold them to it, because that's my whole identity, is I am the strong one. Kisi ka himmat nahi hai, mere samne. Right? So that's an identity. It's a drama. But it leads to how we speak, how we behave. On the flip side, when you wear these clothes, it's this constant reminder, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a representative of the Dharma. I have taken vows of renunciation. I should not be gossiping, complaining, cha-cha. You know what I mean? Like these things are just not what one should expect of a spiritual person. Now, of course, to be a spiritual person doesn't mean you have to wear these clothes. But the clothes are a wonderful reminder to us of, oh yeah, it's the same reason, well, one of the reasons we put on tilak, is it reminds us, oh God, help me not only use these two eyes to see, but help me use this eye. This is the real divine eye. Let me use this eye to see the world. And when I've put on tilak, then all day long I remember, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be seeing the world with this eye. This agya chakra open. And so it helps us because it keeps us focused. It keeps us on track. But it's not that which is going to change the power of my meditation, the clothes. Then in terms of the places we go, the point of meditation is to connect with the truth of who you are, which is the divine. Okay? Being in the midst of a crowded place, in the middle of a city, where everybody is worried about the stock market, interest rates, mortgage rates, shopping, the energy of that space, it's going to be very hard to sit down on, a street in Delhi or a street in Manhattan and meditate. Not impossible by any means. It's one of the reasons we worship the cow. Right? Look at how beautiful the cow is able to just be there and not be distracted. But for us, we'd be very distracted. Every honking horn, every person stepping over us, walking, every door of a shopping center that's in and out, and the bell, whatever. It's very difficult to connect with that infinite truth of the self in those spaces, in the beginning. Once you've achieved it, it's everywhere. But in the beginning, it's why. And at times when we need to really take our practice to another level. It's why we come to ashrams. It's why people sit on mountaintops or sit on the ocean or sit by a riverside. Because it's a lot easier to connect with the divine watching Ganga than watching the traffic, flow through Connaught Place. It's just easier. much more likely to feel that connection with the divine, watching Mother Ganga flow, than you are watching the cars go by on the freeway. These are all just different ways. Puja Swamiji says very beautifully, he says sadhana. And by sadhana, it's everything, including the clothes we wear, the practices we do. Sadhana purifies our mind. It doesn't bring God. It purifies our mind so that we can see that which already is. Which means it's available to you, sitting in Connaught Place. It's available to you on the streets of Manhattan. It's with you everywhere. But the sadhana is that which cleans the mind, wipes off the dirt, so you can see more clearly that which already is, that divinity of yourself.
How it feels like when a person is, you can say, he can meditate well. So what's the experience when someone can meditate?
Let us begin tomorrow with that. Tomorrow we'll begin with a meditation, and then I will ask you how it feels. Okay? Beautiful. We'll take the rest of the questions. Rest of the questions we'll take tomorrow. Yes?
I wouldn't be available tomorrow, so I have a very small question.
Okay.
You say that you converse with God. So do you get clear replies from Him? And secondly, like how accurate are the replies? And you live a renounced life, but people like us cannot lead a minimalistic life. Like our life is not that simple. It's complicated in its own sense. So like even if I would like to connect with God, I'm in the surroundings where it is very difficult for me to have that direct connection with Him. Also, I would like to ask you, how long does it take to develop this kind of relationship with the divinity within you?
Okay. So it's a beautiful question. Rather, it's a list of beautiful questions. A series of beautiful questions. Even if you're not going to be here tomorrow, what I would like to do is to take it tomorrow. Because to rush through it doesn't make sense. Speaking to God, hearing God, living this divine life, regardless of where you are, this is nectar. So we'll take it tomorrow, and what we can do is we can just make sure that you're in touch with our beautiful Seva team, and they can send you the video, or wherever you are tomorrow, you can join us online and watch it live, or just watch it on Facebook or YouTube later, or they can also just send you a link directly to it. Of course. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And look so forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with me.
Bye.
It was really nice.